Thank you for supporting this channel by subscribing. So, next question. Actually, I'm going to, no, this will work. How important is the cover design and what resources can you recommend to get it done?
Okay, so cover design is in many ways your first, well, maybe your second big marketing decision. So
what's the first? I have to ask.
Your title.
Oh,
I would say
okay.
Your title is your first.
I agree.
You're not gonna, right? You're not going to design a cover without a title.
I know, even in movies, when they put "the" in front of a title, I'm just so sick of the. It's like, come on, the illusionist, the magician, it's like, sounds so boring. What was it? I think it was Gilmore Girls, and she was going to call at the, I don't know if you've seen the Netflix, at the end, she wanted to call it The Gilmore Girls, and she said, no, take out the. I forget why. There was a reason. It was called Gilmore Girls. I went, that is so much nicer. But anyway, yes, I agree. The title. Go ahead about the cover design.
Okay, so title is your first big marketing decision, and your second is the cover design. And the cover design is so much more important than most authors think, or than a lot of new authors think.
Don't judge a book by its cover is what we
absolutely judge a book by its cover.
But that's what they do now, is judge the. I talked to Hannibal Hills. He's a voice actor. I don't know if you watched it, but he said we decide on what books we want to read by looking at the book cover. So it's not just people buying your book; it's people who want to work with you. You want to work with you. You need that.
Right. It's that cover design is it's your calling card. It's your face. It's the first thing someone sees. And the cover, more often than not, is what makes them decide to pick up that book out of a pile of other books, or out of a wall of other books, or out of a listing with all these pictures. You click on it or you pick it up because of the cover. So the cover design, I cannot stress this enough, is vital, hugely important, and matters a lot. I don't know how many other synonyms I can think of, but it's really, really important. So let's talk about cover design. Different genres have different tropes in writing, right? There are different things that you can expect to find. You're reading a romance, there's probably some sort of like two people in love with the same person at some point. Or there's a tragic misunderstanding, right? Because it's a romance and that's what you find. There are also tropes in romance covers. There's the sexy guy with his head cut off. Like, all you get is his torso. It's a trope in a romance cover. You see it a lot. Or there's two people not quite kissing, right? Romance cover.
Yeah.
If I look at a cover and I see a dude holding a sword, it better be a fantasy novel. So one of the things that you're thinking of when you're thinking of what does my cover look like is the tropes, the things that people will see and immediately categorize your book as something.
Okay.
And the reason that's important is because if your book is miscategorized by the cover, right? If you put a guy with a sword and this is a romance, then you've confused the reader before they've even started.
Right.
Which means they're probably not going to read your book. Or if they do, they're going to be like, well, this isn't what I thought it was. And that annoys people more than anything else.
Yeah.
Okay. So point one is know what other people in your genre are doing, but don't necessarily copy what they're doing. Because sometimes, if you've seen so many books with two people almost kissing, then when you see something that's a little bit different, oh, that piques my interest because it's different, it's new. Okay. So then you want to bring in, there are layers to this. You can get a cover designer or pay somebody who just designs covers. And sometimes that's an all-encompassing thing where they will get the imagery and they will do the text overlay and they will do everything for you, design your cover. And they'll usually do an ebook version and a print version. You can also do what I do, which I don't necessarily recommend this. It's just that I happen to know people who can do this for me. I know a bunch of artists because I used to work at an art museum. And so I love art and I love artists and I love supporting them. And so I hire artists to do the digital art, and then I hire a book designer to do my cover design.
Okay.
You don't have to do both of those steps. You can just get a book designer if you want to, but I I love my artist friends. So if you're looking behind me here, this background is the cover of Nothing's Ever Lost. So this black and red here, that is what the artist designed. For On Near Life Experience, this is what my artist designed. So this drawing with the flowers and all the detailing, that's what the artist did. And then the text and barcodes and my logo and all that is what the designer did.
Okay.
So I
did see that the near death book, yeah, and it did look like a drawing.
It is, and it's like an etched.
Yeah.
If you can see the detail, it's like an etched drawing.
Yeah.
So,
I'll try to put up a picture from the web, and so you could see it better. The webcams just don't do it justice.
I know it doesn't. You can find it at imperativepressbooks.com.
Oh, okay. Helps. Yes.
Thanks. So for cover design, there are things that absolutely have to be on your cover if you want to be seen as professional and if you want people to see your book and understand it. So you need a title, obviously, and you need your author name. You also need a barcode, which most of the publishing, like Ingram, BookBaby, they will kind of give you a barcode if you have your ISBN. So my ISBN is on here, and then it says a barcode. And then I have genre, which I know you can't see even though I'm pointing at it, but I have genre and I have a suggested price of the book. If you want to be in a bookstore, then having the barcode and the suggested price of the book is really important, because independent bookstores like to have that. They can easily scan your book. Somebody can pick it up and go, okay, that's the price. They can put their own sticker on it and say, oh, look, we're actually selling it for this much less, right? So they like that. The other thing,
I'm sorry, going over the ISBN, as I recall, there's an ISBN for the book, and then there's a separate one for the ebook.
Correct.
Do you use an ISBN for the ebook since it's an ebook?
I use an ISBN for the ebook. I use an ISBN for the book. So there are two separate ISBNs. And those are, you go on myidentifiers.com and you bind those together. So this edition of my book, that with this cover art published at this time, will always forever have this ISBN. If I drastically change the book in some way, if I create a new edition, I say a hardcover edition, it'll have a different ISBN.
Okay.
And that's a different identifier. And the reason that's important is because somebody can go looking for the book based on the ISBN. A library can type it in and always know they're finding the right book. And sometimes that's a problem because, for example, when I was a kid, our teacher said, hey, go read The Three Musketeers. And I said, sure. And my mom had this copy of a book called The Three Musketeers. And so I read it. And then we went to school and we started to talk about it. And I was like, well, this isn't the book I read. Because it turned out I was a kid and didn't look at like the author name. And it turned out that I had read a book by a different author with the same title.
Crazy. I didn't think there was another Three Musketeers.
And it's way racier, like way racier. So yeah, not something my high school teacher really would have assigned me had he known what it was. But that's beside the point. The point is you need an ISBN, and you should own your ISBNs, or you should go through a publishing house that owns their ISBNs.
Yeah.
If you're buying them from Amazon, then Amazon is the publisher of record on your book. Okay. Even if you buy it from Ingram, I believe they become the publisher of record, which, I mean, it's not a secret
Bowers that you buy it, right? Bowers? Am I getting
It's Bowker, Bowker. Okay. And they are the only, there's interesting little monopoly, I guess. They're the only people allowed to sell ISBNs in the United States. I don't know about internationally, or how that works, because I haven't done that. But if you buy an ISBN from anybody else, you're buying it secondhand, which means you're probably not the publisher of record. Okay. I recommend, if you plan on publishing more than one book in your lifetime, to buy them in a batch, because it's way cheaper. If you buy a single ISBN, you're paying a single ISBN price. If you buy 10 at a time, or even 100, as some small publishing houses do, you save a lot of money.
Yeah, they've gone up in price. I bought a bulk, and they have gone up in price since. And I was like, I'm so glad I bought a bunch of them, but I haven't used them all yet. It is frustrating to me that the ebook and the paperback and the hardcover are different.